Welcome to our exercise on shadowing. In this exercise, I'm going to be reading to you a couple of short stories, and what I want you to do is copy the way I'm reading things. I'm going to read them a little bit slowly, and you can always rewind, go back in this video if you miss a few points, but try to copy the way I'm pronouncing these different words and phrases. This is also the same thing that I want you to do when you're listening to audiobooks, to podcasts, or watching your favorite TV series or movies. All right, let's get started. The group of frogs. As a group of frogs were traveling through the woods, two of them fell into a deep pit. When the other frogs crowded around the pit and saw how deep it was, they told the two frogs that there was no hope left for them. However, the two frogs decided to ignore what the others were saying, and they proceeded to try and jump out of the pit. Despite their efforts, the group of frogs at the top of the pit were still saying that they should just give up, that they would never make it out. Eventually, one of the frogs took heed to what the others were saying, and he gave up, falling down to his death. The other frog continued to jump as hard as he could. Again, the crowd of frogs yelled at him to stop the pain and just die. He jumped even harder and finally made it out. When he got out, the other frogs said, "Did you not hear us?" The frog explained to them that he was deaf. He thought they were encouraging him the entire time. Moral of the story: people's words can have a big effect on others' lives. Think about what you say before it comes out of your mouth. It might just be the difference between life and death. Okay, so you can practice on your own, or you can practice with me. You can just rewind the video if you want. Let's move on to the next story. The important things in life. A philosophy professor stood before his class with some items on the table in front of him. When the class began, wordlessly, he picked up a very large and empty mayonnaise jar and proceeded to fill it with rocks about 2 inches in diameter. He then asked the students if the jar was full. They agreed that it was. So the professor then picked up a box of pebbles and poured them into the jar. He shook the jar lightly. The pebbles, of course, rolled into the open areas between the rocks. He then asked the students again if the jar was full. They agreed it was. The professor picked up a box of sand and poured it into the jar. Of course, the sand filled up the remaining open areas of the jar. He then asked once more if the jar was full. The students responded with a unanimous yes. "Now," said the professor, "I want you to recognize that this jar represents your life. The rocks are the important things. Your family, your partner, your health, your children. Things that if everything else was lost and only they remained, your life would still be full. The pebbles are the other things that matter, like your job, your house, your car. The sand is everything else, the small stuff. If you put the sand into the jar first," he continued, "there is no room for the pebbles or the rocks. The same goes for your life. If you spend all your time and energy on the small stuff, you will never have room for the things that are important to you. Pay attention to the things that are critical to your happiness. Play with your children. Take your partner out dancing. There will always be time to go to work, clean the house, give a dinner party, or fix the disposal. Take care of the rocks first, the things that really matter. Set your priorities. The rest is just sand. The Truly Rich Boy. There was a boy whose family was very wealthy. One day his father took him on a trip to the country where he aimed to show his son how poor people live. So they arrived to a farm of a very poor family, as he considered. They spent there several days. On their return, the father asked his son how he liked the trip. "Oh, it was great, Dad," the boy replied. "Did you notice how poor people live?" "Yeah, I did," said the boy. The father asked his son to tell in more details about his impressions from their trip. "Well, we have only one dog, and they have 4 of them. In our garden there is a pool, while they have a river that has no end. We've got expensive lanterns, but they have stars above their heads at night. We have the patio, and they have the whole horizon. We have only a small piece of land, while they have endless fields. We buy food, but they grow it. We have high fence for protection of our property, and they don't need it, as their friends protect them." The father was stunned. He could not say a word. Then the boy added, "Thank you, Dad, for letting me see how poor we are." This story shows that the true wealth as well as happiness is not measured by material things. Love, friendship, and freedom are far more valuable. All right, on to our 4th story, The Old Mule. There was an old mule. One day he accidentally fell into the farmer's well. The farmer had evaluated the situation and thought to himself that neither the well nor the old mule was worth the effort to save them. Thus, he decided to haul dirt to bury the old mule in the well. So the farmer called his neighbors, and together they started to shovel dirt into the well. The old mule was terrified and hysterical in the beginning, but soon one hopeful idea came to his mind. Every time a shovel of dirt landed on his back, he would shake it off and step up. He repeated these words to himself again and again. Shake it off and step up. This way, he could stop the panic and encourage himself. After some time, the mule had stepped over the well's wall. Although terribly tired, he was the winner. He saved his own life. He decided to face his adversity positively and not to give up, and thus he won. What seemed to bury him actually saved him, thanks to his confidence and restless efforts. All right, this is the last story in our shadowing exercise, The Elephant Rope. A gentleman was walking through an elephant camp, and he noticed that the elephants weren't being kept in cages or held by with chains. All that was holding them back from escaping the camp was a small piece of rope tied to one of their legs. As the man gazed upon the elephants, he was completely confused as to why the elephants didn't just use their strength to break the rope and escape the camp. They could easily have done so, but instead they didn't try at all. Curious and wanting to know the answer, he asked a nearby trainer why the elephants were just standing there and never tried to escape. The trainer replied, "When they were very young and much smaller, we used the same size rope to tie them. At that age, it was enough to hold them. As they grew up, they were conditioned to believe that they could not break away. They believed the rope could still hold them, so they never tried to break free." The only reason that the elephants weren't breaking free and escaping from the camp was because, over time, they adopted the belief that it just wasn't possible. Moral of the story: no matter how much the world tries to hold you back, always continue with the belief that what you want to achieve is possible. Believing you can become successful is the most important step in actually achieving it. All right, that concludes our shadowing exercise. You can download the slides beneath this video and go ahead and practice. As you practice more and more, you're going to become more fluent in speaking English, and you'll also grow your confidence so that when you speak to clients, you can have smooth conversations and be able to get those jobs that you're applying for. My suggestion is to practice at least one story every day for around 2 months. And after 2 months, you're going to see the difference of how your English has improved. All right, go ahead and practice.